Can you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be? How many of you are authentically and unapologetically living your truest life? I always thought I was until I had to take a deep, introspective look into what I really wanted out of life and who I wanted to be. At times, I'd let my past dictate my future. So I had to make a decision if I was going to live by chance or by choice. I always thought I was living by choice. Years before Beyoncé penned her chart-topping anthem asking all the single ladies to put your hands up, my fist was prominently aimed at the sky. I was proudly a solo sister, independent, fierce, rebellious, handling her business the best way she knew how. That's how I was raised. I was raised in a house with my mother and my grandmother. My mom and dad divorced when I was 2 years old, so my mom, my sister, and I went to live with my grandmother. Divorce was very commonplace in my family. Nearly every single marriage ended in the D word. There was no happily ever after for my crew. So I felt like I was destined to be single for the rest of my life. I didn't date much in high school. In fact, I had 2 dates, junior prom and senior prom, both with guys who were family friends, and we knew their families for generations. No romantic interests. I think that was because everyone was afraid of my grandmother. She had quite the reputation in town. Super sweet as she could be, but no nonsense when it came to her girls. When the new boy in town would give me that Ryan Gosling, "Hey girl, look," as soon as he heard about my grandmother, it quickly became, "Bye, Felicia." In college, I didn't date much in the beginning either. I was usually either the third or fifth wheel with friends or one of many in a group. I think oftentimes men were kind of intimidated by me. A 6-foot-tall Amazonian black woman who wasn't afraid to speak her mind. Yeah, I see a few of you trembling back there already. What was starting to become single life by chance was slowly becoming choice. To keep myself from being hurt, I decided to make my relationships more casual. So I decided I was going to focus more on my future career plans. Then came Trevor, a summer fling shortly before my senior year that became 3 years of relationship hell. Trevor and I were all wrong from the very start, and I really didn't want to be with him. That is until people started saying, "Oh, you two are together? Huh, that'll never work." Remember when I said I was rebellious? I decided I'm going to make this relationship work no matter what. I think deep down inside, the loneliness was starting to get to me. Seeing all of my friends coupling up, it awakened a deep longing inside me. I know I really wanted to be with somebody, but it had to be the right somebody. The wrong somebody taught me a lot about myself. Not only what I wanted or what I needed, but also what I would not put up with. So then I created the list. You know, the list of all the things you want in that perfect mate that you're looking for. And my list was long and quite daunting. And I thought, am I ever going to find the right person that fits this list? Then lo and behold, I thought I found him. On paper, this guy was everything I wanted. But in reality, he was a con artist living a double life. And I didn't find out until too late. Even though he was the biggest mistake of my life, he gave me the biggest blessing. Our fated and tumultuous relationship ended with me becoming pregnant. So me and the one who shall not be named conceived my beautiful baby girl. No, I did not have a child with Lord Voldemort, but their characters were very similar. So now I was not only a single woman, I was now a single mom. My daughter became my life. Everything I did from this point forward was all for her. And I wanted to give her the world and more. But what I wanted to give her the most was a 2-parent family. My dad decided early on not to be in our lives. He remarried and raised other children as his own. His absence always caused a sense of loss for me. I didn't want that for my baby girl. So as I began to look at potential suitors who could win my heart, they also had to be a suitable father figure for my daughter. Very few men could get past my impenetrable list. I was starting to begin to think the long-lasting curse of single womanhood that was prevalent in my family was also going to be my fate. But lo and behold, the good Lord had a different plan in mind, and soon he brought forth the man who would become my future husband and father to my child. And he came special delivery. Literally, I met and married my Staples delivery guy. Now, our courtship was not a Hollywood romance by any means. I flirted with him for a solid year before he would even accept any of my advances. He would just blush embarrassingly, thank me for my order, and just walk away. I later found out that was because he was in a relationship with someone else, and he didn't want to do anything that felt out of line or disrespectful to her. Well, that made me like him even more. When he stopped that relationship about 6 months later, he began his own little flirtation with me. He'd stop by my desk and chat every day. We'd exchange messages on MySpace. This is before Facebook, so don't look at me all crazy. We'd chat on the phone for hours. He made me laugh, and he made me feel special. I learned so much about him in all of our conversations, especially the fact that he was also a single dad, and he loved being a father more than anything else in this world. Slowly but surely, this guy was checking more of the boxes on my coveted list. So we finally went out on our first date, and we got married exactly 1 year later. My husband is just the most amazing person that you could ever imagine meeting in your life. So when I met him, I knew I wanted to be the best wife I could be, but I hadn't a clue how to do that. My husband had been married before, so I was his second wife. But I knew in my mind I wanted to be one and done, so I had to get this right. But my family's past was always to the forefront of my mind. Could I make this work? Would I be another statistic? I knew I had to put everything I could into being a wife, and I had no clue how to do that. I think in the early days, I failed miserably. I had no idea how to do compromise or that you can have an argument and it not be relationship ending. My husband had lessons that he learned from his first marriage, so he knew how to be patient and humble and very communicative. And believe me, I still challenge his patience on a daily basis. But what I love the most and still do about my husband, and he never asked me to be anything else than myself. He encourages me and supports me, and he allows me to be me, and he loves me for that. And this month, we celebrated 8 years of marriage and 9 years together. Thank you. And in terms of being a father, Brian is the best thing that has ever happened to me and my daughter. In 2012, he adopted her officially, and she became his daughter as well. They have the most amazing relationship. They spend time together on the basketball court or the roller skating rink. They trade cheesy jokes and puns, and they celebrate the very best of each other. Brian has often said that Ajalee gives him life, and I truly believe that she does. The dream that I'd always had finally come true. My Brian came to me when I'd all but given up hope of finding my soulmate, and I'd resigned myself to being at home, being single for the rest of my life. But he brought something to me that I could never have imagined. And unlike the Staples model, it has not been just easy. We have had our challenges like any other marriage, but I know without a doubt, I have absolutely married my best friend and my soulmate. Over the last 2 years, our vows of in sickness and in health have come full circle. As I delivered this talk to you tonight, my Brian is at the James Cancer Hospital in the biggest battle of his life. He is trying to be a 2-time cancer survivor, and he will succeed. Thank you. Even in his darkest days, he has shown compassion and care to others, and he always lifts them up. He has taken every physician visit and procedure and prognosis and prescription with dignity, faith, and hope. I am so proud to be his wife, and I dedicate my talk tonight to him and our amazing future together. Marianne Williamson once said, "You must learn a new way to think before you can master a new way to be." I think I was always destined to be Brian's wife, and I know that my family's past does not have to be my future. So my ask of you is tonight, how many of you are going to choose to deliberately live your truest life? How many of you are going to be unapologetic and authentic and choose to be that way every single day? And if you haven't chosen already, do it now. Thank you.